And welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. It is Catching the Curb with Bob Camardo, the April edition. DJ Yoakley with you. And it's all brought to you thanks to our friends over at the Curbstone Coaches. Certainly one of the greatest organizations in this valley. Still, somehow, kind of under the radar, Coach Camardo. So, I mean, again, for those people maybe watching this for the first time, can you explain just in a 5,000-foot view kind of what the Curbstone Coaches are?
The Curbstone Coaches were formed in 1958. They were formed by a group of media people to have people gather together and talk about local sports. And how they got the name Curbstone, I guess they would stand on the curb talking sports while they were waiting for the bus.
That works.
I don't know. But anyway, and a lot of people think that to belong to the Curbstone Coaches, you have to either currently or have been a coach, and that's not true. We do have a lot of coaches that are involved in our organization, but you don't have to be a coach. We meet every Monday from the Monday after Labor Day until the Monday before Memorial Day at Avion on the Water Banquet Center. They do a great job there. Gina and her staff are wonderful. And we have a speaker that speaks to the group for 20 minutes, answers questions. You have a buffet lunch and out the door. And it's if you like sports and you're able to come on a Monday at noon, and I understand a lot of people work and what have you, you're missing a heck of a time.
And it really is incredible when you think about the speakers who we're going to get to here shortly over the last 4 or 5 weeks since you've been here last. And I'll tell you what, I've been there, I've spoken there, I've just taken in the sights, the scenes. It is worth every penny and then some. So if you've never been, come along and try it out. There's just a few left, Coach. So when you look about everything that it has to offer, this year kind of goes fast. Blink and it's gone.
It really does, and we've got. Let's see, I'm looking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We've got 5 more Mondays between now and Memorial Day, and then if we get any high school state champions, we'll do something in June. But then we'll be done until the Monday after Labor Day. So you're right, it does go very fast, but it's a lot of fun. Like for example, yesterday we had YSU football coach Doug Phillips, who recapped the spring practice and the spring game. And he brought a couple kids with him, and he's just I love Doug Phillips. I think he does a great job given the circumstances. You know, the transfer portal opened up again today, so you got that crap going on left and right, and kids coming and going. But he's very enthusiastic. He thinks they're going to be pretty good this year, so we'll see.
Just a little hold your breath in situations like this with the NIL and transfer portal, everything that goes into it. I think we just all want to see a good product on that football field.
Well, you got to remember too, DJ. He's competing against the 4 Dakotas: North Dakota, South Dakota, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, who are the big wigs in their state. They don't have MAC schools in their state like we do. They don't have the Ohio State in their school in their state like we do. So it's a lot easier for them to get just below caliber Big Ten players, whereas we have to struggle because. Just below caliber Big Ten players are going to go MAC before they go Youngstown in a lot of cases. So he's up against it. We have good facilities there. He's a good guy. He works hard. So we'll see.
Well, and not to mention the Mount Unions of the world who, bring these kids in. They're playing for national championships or at least deep into the playoffs seemingly every year. So, he's got his meats cut out for him.
And the bottom line is you want to come to Youngstown and potentially play for a national championship, be it FCS, or do you want to go to a MAC school and play on ESPN on a Wednesday night when nobody's watching? I don't understand why anyone would want to do that, but the TV exposure, and in today's world, kids are social media driven, so that has something to do with it too.
It's the drip and the swag, yo.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's talk about some of those other than Doug Phillips over the last 4 or 5 weeks, who we've seen roll into Avion on the Water.
And on March 17th, we had a world-famous sports / artist named Ray Simon. And Ray has painted portraits of presidents, and he did one of Muhammad Ali. He did one of, I'm trying to think of who else. Notable sports people, Jim Brown.
Yeah.
All across the world. And he was very interesting. He brought a slideshow with him. He was something a little bit different than what we normally have, and he did a good job. Then on the 24th, we had YSU President Bill Johnson, who came and talked to us about the state of athletics, and he too has stuck in his craw a little bit about the NIL and the transfer portal.
Sure.
But again, like he said, you can complain about it, but you have to embrace it because it's here to stay. It isn't going anywhere.
No.
On March 31st, we normally would have had any winter high school state champions. We didn't have any this year in this area. So we got a legendary basketball coach from Newton Falls, boys basketball coach, Roy Sembach. Roy is still the coach there. And if my numbers are correct, Roy Sembach and the gentleman that preceded him, a guy by the name of Gene Zorn, who's also a legend in Newton Falls, are the only two high school basketball coaches in Newton Falls boys since 1955. Zorn was there for 30-some years, as has been Roy Sembach. So he was really good, very interesting. He's very passionate about Newton Falls basketball, and we enjoyed having him.
2 coaches in 70 years.
Yeah, exactly. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
And he says that his wife he's retired teaching. His wife still teaches. He says he'll go a few more years. He says, till they throw me out. I says, they're not throwing you anywhere. They're thankful to have you.
Atta baby.
And then on April 7th, we had legendary referee both NBA Finals and NCAA Final Four, as well as hundreds of games, Joe DeRosa. Joe speaks to us every year on the Monday of the national championship game. He's tremendous. He just knows everything there is to know about officiating. He tells stories about trash talking Larry Bird and Michael Jordan and all that because he refereed a lot of those games. His son is currently an NBA official.
Wow.
So Joe talks to us about the championship game that night, and he said he knew all 3 of the referees that were reffing that game that night. And as you and I were talking off the air a little bit, they got in a little bit of controversy because in the first half of that championship, it was a very physical game. Houston's a physical team, and Florida wasn't afraid to back down either. They called 4 fouls in the first half and something like 23 in the second half.
Yeah.
So people are wondering, did the game really change that much at halftime? I don't think so, but maybe someone told them you better start calling it a little closer. Who knows? But
I thought I changed the channel at halftime. I was wondering which game I was watching.
Yeah, really. But Joe is great. And then, of course, like I said yesterday, we had Doug Phillips. So we've had a really good month of speakers.
So it's not how you start, it's how you finish. You guys had a phenomenal start, but the finish is what everybody talks about. Obviously, we have the banquet coming up, but who do we have to close out the year?
Well, next Monday, the 21st of April, we have a guy that played baseball at YSU. Actually had a couple classes with him. A Woodrow Wilson graduate by the name of Rick Montine. Rick ended up having a career being a general manager for minor league baseball teams. And I've talked to him several times, and he has some stories they're not suitable for young kids, is all I can tell you. But he's going to come and talk to us about minor league baseball next week. Then on the 5th of May, the day after our banquet, we have legendary softball pitcher Aaron Gabriel, who pitched at Poland and Tennessee. She's runs some camps in the area, and she's also engaged to the YSU baseball coach, Trevor Sharpie.
Oh, wow.
So we're looking forward to having her come. On the 12th of May, we've got Matt Thompson, the assistant general manager for the Mahoning Valley Scrappers. We'll talk about the upcoming Scrapper season. And then on May 19th, we have Brian Gorby, who I heard just bought a house so he can house all his trophies and rings from YSU track. They've won championships again this fall, and they're going to be running the outdoor track this I think in a couple of weeks. So we always honor him and some of his players that have won Horizon League championships. So he'll be there on May 19th.
That's incredible. What a finish to what has been a great. Well, I can say it. It's been a hell of a year.
It really has.
You guys.
It really has.
And ultimately, we'll talk to Tom Miller here in a moment about the banquet and all the excitement that there is leading up to it. But my friend, you do it's a heck of a job all year to fill in the gaps and to keep people entertained and coming out. Scale of 1 to 10 this year was it a little bit more challenging, the same as usual. What was it?
I'd say it was maybe a hair more challenging, but I've got a lot of people that help get these speakers. Tom Miller is one of them. Dana Ballish, who's been a good friend of mine since I taught him in school back in the early '80s, helps me quite a bit. And we just feel like we've had some unfortunately people pass away that normally come to luncheons
Yeah.
in the last couple of years. So we're looking to to pick that up. So again, anyone that loves sports and can be there on Monday at noon, even if you could just take a lunch break from your job,
Yeah.
come down and see us.
And I'll tell you what you've been able to do again has been absolutely incredible. You do it year after year. I scratch my head because I'm like, how did he get this person or this person or this person? So kudos to you.
Well, I thank you. I asked the
Unbelievable.
board to double my salary, and they said okay. But again, two times nothing is still nothing. So
That's good math.
it's-
Maybe not for you, but that's
No.
good math everywhere else.
no, I enjoy it. It gives me something to do. My wife works out of her house. It gets me the hell out of the house when she's working, so I have no problem with it. And I'm a sports fanatic, so I enjoy it.
Last point today. I know there's nobody probably more excited than you. The bowling team winning a national championship here at Youngstown State. What does that mean to you?
You know, I was at the YSU Scholar Athlete Banquet last night, and I sat next to Jod Cote, who was the anchor bowler, and I told her, I says, young lady, you have ice in your veins, because she got up there and threw strike after strike after strike. And I was at home watching the seventh game, and I told her, I said, I was at all of the national championship games for YSU in football in the '90s, and I was more nervous for that bowling. I wanted them to win so bad. I mean, I told you earlier in an earlier podcast that I thought they had a legitimate chance of winning a national championship. They had 6 seniors. Doug Kaburski does an unbelievable job of keeping them together. And watching that match, it was just tremendous. It means a lot to the university. I mean, you think about it, it's the first women's national championship ever, and the first national championship of any kind since the Trestle teams of the football teams of the '90s.
I mean, for you, who's a diehard YSU guy, sports fanatic anyway, what do you think? I mean, you said it means a lot to the university. What do you think this does? Do you think this propels Youngstown State on the national level in the sport of bowling and maybe some others?
I think it does, and I think that not every school has bowling, but geez, I hope we don't lose Coach Kaburski. I know he's had a couple of nibbles from other schools in the past, but he loves it here, and I think it not only helps with the bowling program, I think it helps with women's sports because it's obviously a women's sport,
Sure.
and we spend so much time talking about basketball and football, but I'll tell you what, these girls were just unbelievable. They were tremendous. They laughed in the face of adversity. They came back and they beat Jacksonville State, who was the defending national champions and who had beaten them the day before in the first round. And yeah, God bless them. They did a tremendous job.
Bob Camardo, so happy to have you stop by again. We'll do this one more time. We'll talk about the banquet and all the great things coming up to finish out your year. Thank you so much and appreciate you, and we'll see you next month.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.